Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my review of The Shape of Water. Guillermo Del Toro remains one of those directors that I'm always excited to see what he brings next. I know a lot of people haven't loved his recent projects. I personally liked Crimson Peak more than most people seem to. I really liked Pacific Rim, but especially as a producer, he's had quite a few missteps recently. However, this film looked fantastic from those trailers. This screamed Del Toro at his best. And I have to say, it is Del Toro at his best. I loved The Shape of Water. So let's go ahead and start in on those positives. First of all, the performances are spectacular. In particular, Sally Hawkins is amazing. She encompasses so much without saying any words in this film, which is a feat in and of itself. But her performance is so honest, it's subtle yet powerful. I loved her performance. Her character alone had me enthralled. But I also thought Octavia Spencer was really great. I think she actually was a little bit more subtle than she has been in her recent roles. But really, she was just doing what Octavia Spencer is hired to do, and she did it to her peak ability. Same thing with Michael Shannon. He was pretty much hired to do the Michael Shannon thing, and he does it very, very well. As for the other star here, Mr. Del Toro himself, he is at his finest across the board. Visually, this movie is amazing. The cinematography is simply stunning from start to finish. This movie looks pretty much perfect. The design of the creature is so beautiful. Like, it is just like this weirdly majestic, beautiful creature. The costumes, the sets, everything just looks amazing. And his direction just works so well. The story moves along at a nice, whimsical pace. I think the visual effects look beautiful. I think the camera angles are really interesting and lovely to see. The script is fantastic. From a technical standpoint, I think this movie is just so well done. And as a piece of art, it's hard not to appreciate it. And speaking of the whimsy and the pacing, the score here is fantastic. Probably my favorite score so far of 2017. The music completely transforms this film. The music is what initially just kind of like sweeps you in. And we've seen films such as Atomic Blonde and most notably Baby Driver really use music to drive the film. And here Del Toro does it in such a different way, but it's just as effective. It's used so well from the actual songs to the original score. All of the music is just perfection. And I'm going to put this as a positive for Guillermo Del Toro because I think it's a necessity, but the story actually is not all that out of the ordinary. There are out of the ordinary elements to it, and he goes in these different kind of fantastical ways every now and then, but the basic, like, bare bones plot line is very familiar. It's something we've seen many times. You have all these archetypes in there. But I think that it's actually a positive in this case because if you're bringing in something like interspecies love, for example, you need to have something for the audience to relate to kind of put the audience at ease and let them absorb everything coming in. So I think he made this movie accessible to a wider audience than a lot of art house type films do. And I think it works really well. And I love that the entirety of this movie is kind of aimed at and speaking to the outsiders, the weirdos, the people that aren't part of the norm in society. Of course, our three main characters here that we interact with the most all belong to groups that are outside of the norm. Most notably, somebody with a disability. And of course, whenever you have these weird relationships and these weird loves, as the one is presented here, it's a pretty instant correlation, obviously, to the way that homosexuality was viewed and not being able to control how you fall in love and who you fall in love with. So I just thought it worked so well. It spoke to me. It really just kind of like captured me. I was enthralled. I was just completely captivated with this film from start to finish. I loved it so much. And I was kind of actually explaining why I loved it so much, as it puts two types of films that I almost always really enjoy together into one. A film about rescuing an animal, about getting an animal out to the wild safely, rescuing it from an abusive situation, rescuing it from captivity. Even when those movies aren't necessarily good, I'm a sucker for that kind of story. And then weird love, like different kind of relationship, outsider type of relationships, stuff like Her. I usually tend to really like those as well. So put them together, and you pretty much got me. As for negatives in this film, I don't think there are any big negatives. There wasn't anything that really took the story down for me. But I think the overall villain situation is kind of a negative overall. I don't think he has all that many layers. I think he is pretty much your standard one-note villain. There is one scene that you get with him and his superior that adds a little bit of flavor and a little bit of humanity into the character, but it's just an out-and-out, like, horrible person that you hate. A very typical villain for these type of films. And I know it was set in a different time period, but the whole Russian thing also kind of felt like, okay, this is unnecessary. Like, I didn't really understand the purpose there. And I guess I'll be honest in the fact that it is a little bit weird. It is about a woman and a fish creature, an aquatic, non-human, humanoid creature falling in love in a weird kind of love story. So if that automatically just like turns you off and you don't think you'll be able to get past it, I don't think this is necessarily the movie for you. This is not really set in the real world. It is a Guillermo Del Toro type of fantasy, love story, beauty, art, and if that's not appealing to you, this movie I don't think is going to really change your mind. But personally, as I said, I loved it. It's instantly one of my favorite films of 2017. So off of my personal recommendation, I say give it a full price ticket. It is a unique film-going experience that captures the heart, it captures the creativity, and it brings art onto the big screen in an accessible way. So, that is my review of The Shape of Water. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead, click like down below, and subscribe to the channel so you are always up to date on our latest videos. Also, join in on the discussion. Are you excited to see The Shape of Water? And what is your favorite Guillermo del Toro film? Let me know either in the comment section down below, or you can hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your support. Mwah. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!